It is 5:30, so I think it's time for us to start. As a reminder of personnel, one of our members, Adam, I guess, got demoted to the Planning Commission. So we're it. We'll go ahead and get the meeting started. Calling this evening the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for the City of Greer to order. If there's anyone present on the board whom would need to disqualify themselves, please let it be known by saying so now. Okay, hearing none. Next, we want to tackle the minutes of the Board of Zoning Appeals on November the 6th, 2023. So do I have a motion with regard to that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Crosby?
Approved.
Mr. Norris?
Approved.
Dr. Huey?
Approved.
Mr. Griffin?
Approved. Okay, the next thing is the election of officers. So we're going to jump right into that. I am the current chairman, and I don't have a burning desire to do it again next year. So any one of you guys want to, or ladies, excuse me, would like to do it? Well, I think we'll be very open to that.
We'll need nominations. Seconds.
Do we have any nominations?
Is this something that can be postponed to next meeting or not necessarily?
I know we're doing that tonight.
We can postpone it for when more folks are in attendance, if you like.
When does the term expire?
1 year, isn't it?
I suppose, what would the deadline be for making a decision?
We can wait until next time. It's just generally for each year. So if you
wanna
want
do
to
that?
just wait, we can
Yeah.
wait.
Okay.
Probably. So,
Well,
yeah.
we will officially then delay the election of officers for the 2025 fiscal year till our next meeting. And that might be in 26, I don't know, but anyway. But if everybody's agreeable with that, we'll do that. Okay. During this time, I'd like to open and close the public hearing for each request we have. We only have one request this evening. I'm going to start with a staff giving the basic information for the request and the applicant presenting their request. Afterwards, anyone wanting to speak with regard to this request, they will have an opportunity to do so. And I do think we have one in the audience that would like to do that, so we will handle that at that time. Okay, staff?
This docket number is BZA SE 241. It is an address at 647 Blackwell Road. And the request is to allow for townhomes in a suburban neighborhood zoning district. Here you can see the aerial map of the parcel. The parcel consists of 45.7 acres, give or take. Here's the current zoning map, the land use map, future land use map, excuse me. And here are the current conditions. And lastly, here is the preliminary plat.
Okay, we will have an opportunity during the business portion of the meeting to ask questions of staff as well as to the applicant themselves. So at this time, I'd like to ask the applicant to make his presentation.
Hi, good evening. My name is Daria Dementianova. I work for Civil SD, the engineering firm that's going to be working on the infrastructure design. And I'm here with the applicant, Dustin Kinnunen. He's going to be the builder, and he's the applicant. And we have 45-acre property, and we're presenting a townhome community with 158 lots. We have worked with staff on creating a site plan that is respecting the wildlife resources and the creek on the property. We have provided 70% open space, which is exceeding the required amount of open space, which was 20%. We have provided 70%. We have pulled away from the wetlands and work with staff to provide a great number of passive and active recreational activities. I actually really enjoy working on this part. Unlike other municipalities or counties, City of Greer seems to have done a great job with their UDO and creating, working towards creating a sense of community. Hardly ever do I see any designs that have more than a dog park, a pool, and a playground. And we have provided walking trails, disc golf area, playground, a dog park, soccer field, and pickleball fields. I think that that design that we're showing, it's going to be very attractive to people buying homes in that community. It also creates a sense of community, and it also shows that Greer is really looking out for the well-being of the citizens. And we have also worked with staff to accommodate some widening of Blackwell Road. It is currently only at 16 feet. Per requirements, we're gonna widen the frontage to 26 feet. And we are open to any other ideas, but just by looking at the color green, my boss actually just texted me. He said that site plan looks really good. The color green really stands out. I am personally an environmentalist, even though I'm also a civil engineer. But I do enjoy site plans that preserve big portions of nature. And I am not moving to Greer, but I would love to live in a community like this myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely sure that when you came to the podium and you introduced yourself, would you redo it again? I missed it.
Daria is my first name.
Yes, and your last name and who you represent.
Dementianova.
Okay.
Okay, you can just Daria D, since it's long to spell. And I work with Civil SD Engineering.
Okay. It was my fault. I just missed
Oh,
it.
it's okay. I know it's a complicated last name, and
All right.
I think I will keep it forever, despite
Okay.
marriages and stuff like that, on purpose.
Okay. Well, thank you for your presentation, and keep yourself available.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, we would like to recognize any other speakers for or against the project. And I think we have Allison Rauch, R-A-U-C-H.
An equally difficult last name to pronounce. Good evening. My name's Allison Rauch. I am a resident of the Canyon Ridge neighborhood off Biblebrook Drive. For those not familiar, if you come up Blackwell Road, where the proposed townhomes are, to Lister Road, and take a turn on Valentine Lane, that eventually leads to Biblebrook Drive. I've lived in this area since 2018, and I want to spend a few moments to let you know why I feel the city of Greer, the infrastructure, and roads are not ready for these townhomes. I've taken a brief look at the site analysis, and it shows 395 parking spaces are required for this development, but the development would also hold up to 484. That is an additional 500 cars on this road that is not ready for it. And by that, I mean Blackwell Road, Valentine Road, Biblebrook Drive cannot hardly accommodate 2 cars passing at one time. These are tight shoulders where oftentimes cars have to brake to let another car go by. Some of the shoulders on this road are crumbling, or there's potholes there that need to be addressed. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to brake, flash my lights, and let something like a bus or a trash truck go by me because we can't pass. While I understand the development would be required to widen the road, that's only in front of the development and not the whole road. Valentine Towns on Valentine Lane is a perfect example of this. If you visit that site, the road gets wide and then it gets tight again. It's just not a safe situation, in my opinion, especially adding an additional 500 vehicles to this area. There's currently no lighting, no sidewalks, no reflectors on any of these roads. The reason I feel it's important to note that where I live is there's a bridge over the CSX tracks that's been closed since 2020, which leaves one way in and one way out of my neighborhood. Just imagine adding 500 more vehicles to this area. I bring up the bridge being closed because when I spoke to the City of Greer Council in 2020 against a closure, fire officials mentioned that they could not adequately serve me with fire services because of that bridge being closed, and that the Tiger River Fire Department was the first due to my home. I'm curious what the plans are to serve Ashley Gardens, this proposed townhomes, with emergency services. I see the site has a proposed pickleball court, soccer field, dog park, playground, and a 9-hole disc golf course. I love that. I love the outdoors. And this sounds great, and I fully support these outdoor activities. But my question is if these would be open to the public. And if so, just imagine how many more people these recreational opportunities would again bring to this area. And also, for anyone not familiar with this area, there are no eateries within an approximate 3/4 to a mile radius of this proposed development. I see this as an additional strain on resources as residents would be forced to drive to the target side of Greer, where there have already been many accidents and a fatality. I'd be willing to meet any of you all at these roads to show you my concerns and show you what I've dealt with since 2018. I hope that you'll take into consideration some of the things mentioned this evening and how townhomes would negatively impact the surrounding area in its current state. I also hope that the City of Greer would consider taking care of its residents that currently live here, the infrastructure and emergency response before continuing to add additional residents. So, I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak to this issue, this applicant?
I guess I speak a little. I got here a little late, so I don't know what I was saying.
Okay, well, come on up to the mic and tell us who you are and where you live, please, sir.
I'm Kenneth Wilson. I own the property on the other side of Bible Brook, 675. And it's just really, the road's not set up for all the traffic.
You can do that when you're done.
All right. If you take the traffic that's going to be there and the traffic on Valentine Road, you're going to be looking at well over probably 1,000 cars. Because if you circle through any one of them neighborhoods, there's not 2 cars there, there's 4 or 5 cars per house. And if you come down Valentine now, and I see they cleared off more land to build not only up the road from the other neighborhood. So I don't know how many more houses are going to be there. I'm for the building, but we need to get the infrastructure first. That's about all I got to say. And the bridge sure would be helpful back on Bible Brook.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, we will now move into, well, I'm assuming there's no one else here to speak to that, so we will now close the public hearing for BSA SE 24-01. We'll now move on into new business. Since we only have one case in which we're considering this evening, at this time we will open new business for BZA SE 2401. Staff, if you would provide us an analysis and your recommendation with regard to this case.
Yes, thank you. To reiterate, this is BZA SC 24-01, and the request is to allow for a special exception to allow for townhomes in a suburban neighborhood zoning district. Once again, here's the aerial map of the roughly 45-acre parcel. Here's the zoning map. And here is kind of a rundown of the purpose and intent of that suburban neighborhood zoning district. As you can see, it is to allow for the use of single-family detached dwellings in a generally suburban character that is shaped by residential subdivisions of medium lot homes and relatively uniform housing types and densities, and to allow for cluster subdivisions. As you can see here, here's the table of standards and regulations we have pertaining to this zoning district, including minimum lot areas, lot widths, coverage, and setbacks. Once again, here's the preliminary plat. The allowed density is 4 units an acre, which would equate to about 192 units. The allowed density using cluster, the cluster effect, would be 240 units for a parcel this size. And the proposed density is under both of those units at 158 units for this 45-acre parcel. Here's the future land use map with a little bit of a breakdown on what it means when we say this parcel should be used for a traditional neighborhood. Again, traditional neighborhoods are generally supposed to be around downtown Greer and are meant to be relatively connected to downtown Greer. And they feature an interconnected street grid and a mix of housing types, and it is primarily residential in nature, and it allows for both single-family attached and detached houses, as you can see in the primary uses. And so to look at the surrounding area, to the north, there is unzoned Spartanburg County with a residential use. It is the same to the east. To the south, there is unzoned Spartanburg County and currently zoned districts that are zoned manufacturing and logistics, which have a mix of uses between industrial and residential. And then to the west, there is an industrial use that's zoned manufacturing and logistics. Staff recommends approval because this property is appropriately zoned and there are a variety of residential uses in the area. The request is compatible with the future land use plan and map because, again, that allows for both attached and detached housing products. The denser development allowed by attached houses like these townhomes serves as a transition between the residential areas surrounding this parcel and the manufacturing and logistics zone districts that also are to the south and west of this parcel. And for these reasons, staff supports the request.
Okay. Thank you. Board, is there any questions now of either staff or either any of the other participants here, including the applicant and any of the other people addressing the issue? Questions?
Well, I know that there has been some questions brought related to infrastructure and the roads and things like that. I'm not sure if there's any position or place to discuss some of those items or not.
So they did complete a traffic study. Most of the impacts were up near Wade Hampton on Leicester. So there is some recommended mitigation with a right turn lane on Leicester that's under consideration right now. So we've requested that they fulfill that. That's nowhere near subdivision, but it does help with some of the traffic issues in the area DOT said it would, so.
Okay, thank you.
Can you show the map again and explain where the industrial zones are? The blues?
There you are. Yes, the blue parcels on that map are the manufacturing and logistics zones.
Yeah, sorry.
All of this is in the environs.
Allison, I'm sorry. Can you come back to the podium, please? It sounded like most of your issues with this is a traffic issue. Is that a true statement?
That's fair. That's accurate.
Yeah. I was wondering, staff, could you go into any detail on the traffic study that was done?
I think Heather said most of the.
So, yes, so they looked at the road, mostly Leicester. It's not on the map. It's a little higher up. It's up at where the five-way intersection is with Valentine and Leicester and Blackwell. And then the Wade Hampton intersection. So everything backs up on Leicester from Wade Hampton down. So that's where the delays were. They didn't have any concerns about the site access or the Poinsett kind of area. It was about, I think most of the traffic goes up towards Wade Hampton, and a little less goes down towards Poinsett in terms of like the distribution of where the cars are going.
And that would be accurate because that's the only access that I have is Wade Hampton. That bridge right there is closed.
Yeah, this one's closed.
So I have to go up Bible Brook, past Valentine and up Wade Hampton.
Yes, they can go down to Poinsett. They can use that little, I don't even know what that thing's called. Over the,
Come across the train tracks right there.
that's correct.
I'd like to see 500 cars coming out there.
Yeah, it's tight. Wasn't any comments on that in the traffic study.
There's been 5 wrecks down there last week. I run the car up right in front of where Leicester Road comes out. There's 5 there last week.
Okay.
There's already supposed to be a right-hand turn sign already on that sign. It's been knocked over so many times, they ain't put it back on.
Okay.
This is an exit onto Wade Hampton Boulevard, and what's the name of the road?
Leicester.
Okay, let me sure.
So the majority of Blackwell Road is actually county-maintained road, and then once it gets closer to this interchange, DOT takes over maintenance. The city only has a small amount of road that's in their control on Blackwell. And again, as far as widening goes, we do require any new development to widen along their frontage, but we don't have the authority to have them widen past their frontage.
Frontage.
I mean, again, the hope is that eventually, as things develop, that you'll have a longer stretch of widened roadway, but it's not always the case, and it may take a long time. But that was a change we made in 2021 to require developments to widen roads to city standards along their frontage, along with lowering our threshold for traffic impact analyses.
Trying to get my bearings right. On the other side of the blue, that's the inland port, right?
That's correct.
Across from it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And the road y'all are saying is not adequate, for your opinion, is it on Blackwell? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Actually, both where they come out, it's gonna come out of Bible Brook and Leicester. I'd suggest any of y'all go down and ride, try to come out right now.
Is The thing I'm a little confused on is, if this is zoned next to it, manufacturing or logistics, usually those are high truck traffic, roads anyways. So I'm trying to figure out what all exactly has been done for the road itself. I mean, thinking in the future.
It's very narrow. Currently, this large blue parcel is undeveloped. There's a single-family home that's right here. So if it were to be developed in the future, they would be responsible for widening this portion of Blackwell. And I fully understand the frustration with the infrastructure and the traffic. I do feel that this project has done what the ordinance requires in terms of conducting a study, doing mitigation that's needed, and widening where appropriate. I just want to remind this board that the decision is whether or not to allow attached housing. It's more about the characteristic of the use. This is zoned traditional neighborhood, or sorry, suburban neighborhood. So it is allowed to have single-family detached houses by right up to the density that we had in our other slide. So the question is really attached versus detached, not how many or whether we're gonna zone it to residential.
I
Just,
think everybody must have missed that first meeting, because it was all industrial there.
it was rezoned back in 2021
Yeah.
by city
I've never
council.
seen a sign there, about like that there, it was thrown out on a Friday at 4 o'clock. Just don't want my 2 cents out there. And them 2 houses that's beside it right there, they got an airport environs, they just mailed her a letter, she can't even build on hers.
That's correct. There is environs in the front. You can see where the hatch marks are. That's why there's no houses in the front.
Where's the footprint out of the houses y'all gonna put there?
They're not.
Look
They're
at
not
all that
allowed to
right
put
there.
housing in the environs, which is right here. So they've already consulted with GSP Environs, and that's why there's only a roadway and recreational space and no housing.
I sort of missed what type of signage that you was talking about that needed to be placed.
On Leicester, I mean, where Leicester comes out on 29.
Yeah.
There was a stop sign, there's still a stop sign there.
Yeah.
There's always been a right turn on, but it's been run over so many times, they've forgotten now, the right turn ain't even on there. So every time somebody tries to pull out there and go left, they get popped. But I mean, I don't think a stop sign at all is gonna do it, if you had that much more traffic, you're gonna have to put a red light or something's gonna have to go, and probably gonna have to put one on Bible Brook. Go try to pull out on Bible Brook, my daughter done got popped one time there too. I mean, you'll try to, even try to turn into Bible Brook, people that's pulling out ain't got nowhere to go in the middle of 29, and they'll deliberately try to hammer, they ain't gonna hit the brakes no more, they like to hit the gas.
Staff, I'm not really sure what type of authority we have as an organization or as the city to ask for additional signage or whatever needs to be done to make the entry and the exit at that location more safe, but can we request something like that?
If DOT deems it necessary as part of the traffic study, we certainly can. That intersection is a DOT intersection, so we could certainly contact them and let them know that the signage has been damaged. And they would be the one to put that back.
Another question too, on that study, that road count was put out what on, when was that thing put out? It couldn't have laid there no more than 2 days.
I don't know when they took the counts.
Specifically.
Do you guys remember when they took the counts? We don't have the copy of the study with us.
Yeah, they make them do it when school's in session. So they take counts
Okay.
in peak hours.
Speaking to the applicant, what was mentioned up here, and this may be something up and above what you can answer, but you do have a number of amenities in this neighborhood or development. Are they going to be open in any way to the public?
We're in charge, no, but we're gonna turn it over to an HOA. You know, some HOAs do like charge a fee to get people to use their amenities. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect them to, but I guess it's a possibility in the future.
I see, okay.
I know the walking trail is supposed to all come out below it now too, so that bring more people on it.
Okay, board, is there any other questions for either the applicant or any other folks that have spoke to the issue?
I just want to clarify with staff, so the area of concern would be a DOT issue, okay.
I also just want to clarify, the decision before the board today is really more so related to the zoning itself, like the actual zoning
The
Related
allowed
to the
use.
use.
to
And
the
use
to
is-
zoning use.
Yeah, the zoning is established. It is suburban neighborhood. So we have a table of permitted uses that says what's allowed and what's not allowed. And then there are some that are allowed by special exception. And so this board takes another look at it just to make sure it's appropriate.
Yep.
And so in this case, you are just deciding whether or not attached housing is appropriate in this location, which means townhome.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Well, the bottom line of it is, if we approve that, well, then, of course, we're giving also the builder or the developer an opportunity to go ahead with the development. Right, okay. Okay, do I have a motion with regard to the applicant's application?
Motion to accept.
Okay, I have a motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Crosby? Mr. Norris?
Approve.
Dr. Huey?
Approve.
Mr. Griffin?
Approved. Now, we've approved that, but going back to our discussion with regard to what can be required for as far as safety measures going back on one road, going on to another road, unless it's too late to do so, can we also require that as being part of the approval process? I guess we're doing it backward, but.
You okay?
You mean as far as like intersection improvements that we talked about, the right turn lane and the signage?
Yeah,
That would
right.
be required as part of our typical site plan development process. They'd be required to put that in prior to signing the final plat, which would give them the lots.
Okay, well,
So
that's what
yes,
I
that
was,
is absolutely part of our process.
Right.
And will be required regardless of this decision.
okay.
The next step would be a preliminary plat that would go to Planning Commission.
Okay. Is there any other business or the BSA?
I don't have any. I was going to welcome our new member, but he was unable to attend. So hopefully we will meet him and a new member that will be appointed in place of Mr. Toma soon. So. And we missed you. Welcome back.
Being nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
That's approved.